Got this question a couple of times, how I learned how to sew, and kind of, we are including something things I wish I knew before I started. Okay, I think I've answered this question a couple of times in my, I think in my stream, how I learned how to sew. So I started from a roadside tailor from my area. So I learned that for, I think, not up to a year, and then I gave birth to my baby. I had to stop, then go back, learn, and in fact, it was inconsistent learning, and I never gave up. I kept going back and forth. In fact, at a time, I stopped going because it seems like I keep going off and on, up and off and on. Then after that, I decided to start this channel. If you watch my videos, my old videos when I started, you will see that I started with pattern papers. My video wasn't as good as it is now when it comes to teaching, and I've also learned in the process of this YouTube channel. Also learned in the process of this YouTube channel. So it's more like I was learning as I was teaching. I don't know if it makes sense. So I was learning as I was teaching. So that's basically how I learned how to sew. And then I have one or two people I've watched their videos on YouTube that I recreated their videos into children's styles. I do with children's styles, and anytime I do adult styles, it doesn't do well on this space. So I decided to just leave adult styles alone and then do more of children's. But there are some YouTubers that have also watched their videos. I watched their videos at the beginning stage of my journey. So I watched their videos, and then I recreate it into children. So that's basically all how I learned my sewing, and I am still learning because as we go on, more stars are still coming up. So I'm still learning, still recreating, trying to find new ways of doing things better and faster, because you need that fast you need that fast pace in your work. So things I wish I knew before going into this tailoring aspect is, the first one is, it is better to overcharge than to undercharge. You see this one, I've done this mistake. In fact, recently I still did the mistake. I don't know when I will learn. So it's better that you overcharge than to undercharge for the work, because when you undercharge, you'll be doing that work and you'll be complaining. One thing with me, if I undercharge, I'm going to do your work well, because I'm the one that charged you, right? I'm going to do your work well, but I wouldn't be happy at the end of the day. So it's better to overcharge, than to undercharge. In fact, don't even feel guilty about charging for your work, because it's your time, it's your effort, it's your knowledge, it's your everything. So don't ever feel that guilt that, oh, maybe I'm overcharging. You're not overcharging. Charge according to however that is working for you. Next thing I've learned in this journey of tailoring, study the style before you even carry your paper to mark. I did not say carry your fabric, I say carry your paper. Study the style. If I look at the style, if you are recreating, study the style from the shoulder to the neck to the waist to the, in fact, study every details of the style, so that number one is going to help you to know the yardage of fabric that you're going to be using. Number two is going to help you to curtail so many mistakes, and then a lot of things that is going to help. Then another thing is, when you are cutting, at least you know exactly what you are doing. So you have to study the style before you start cutting. There was a time I just like start cutting even without studying the style, but no, now I look at it. In fact, I sit down and look at it. It takes me, if it's a complicated style, it takes me a while. I don't want to put number of minutes it takes me, but it takes me a while. It takes me a while to figure out the style, look at it well, know what I'm supposed to do at each stage, the sleeve, the shoulder, everything, before I will even think about picking my paper or marking on my fabric if I'm marking directly on the fabric. Then the third thing I've learned in this journey, or I wish I knew earlier, I don't know if it's the third or the fourth, is work with paper. You see this? Yes, I know that some of my tutorials, you've seen me work directly on the fabric. The reason why I do it is because maybe I've done that kind of style a lot of times. So I more like I've mastered what I am doing. But if not, please work with your paper. When you make that mistake, you can just tear the paper and get another new one, right? But if you spoil if you spoil your client's fabric, you are in for it. As next thing I learned, or I wished I knew earlier, is cross-checking. Cross check your markings before you cut. This is very important. You don't want to make that mistake on someone's fabric. You don't want to be in that soup. So go through it, cross check your markings, your measurements. In fact, it's even better that it's big, is the measurement is bigger than it is smaller. At least if it's bigger, you can shape it in. But if it's small, I don't know what you're going to do. So cross check before you continue. The next thing I've learned, or I wish I knew earlier, is that learning comes with mistake. You can't run away from it. Nobody is perfect, but what happens at the end of the day is what you learn from your mistake. That's the only thing. But learning comes with mistake. You can't run away from it. So that's another thing I've learned in this journey, or I wish I knew earlier. I'm not going to go ahead and start beating myself up for making mistakes, because most times all those tutorials that you see, we crop a lot of mistakes out. Though that one or two of my videos I left my mistakes there. There's a reason why I left it. One is so that you know that it's not always perfect. We make mistake as well. I think that's one of the reasons, or the major reason. Let's not go into those ones. So I decided deliberately left it there, and I don't know if people found it offensive. I don't know, but I deliberately left it. I think 2 or 3 of my videos that I had to record, or I made a mistake. So learning comes with mistakes. Then the next thing I wish I learned earlier is what? Study before you price. You see this, this is very, very important. There are some stats that you look at, like the last tutorial I made in my channel, in my sewing channel. Is what, or I'm going to put it in the description box so that you see the video I'm talking about. In fact, when I looked at the style, it's more like, it's not shirts, gather shirts, blah blah blah. But when I started that tutorial, it took me, I don't know if if it's because it's a tutorial. I know I have to video before I cut or before I sew. So it took me like 4 hours before I was able to finish that style. So, but before I even started the tutorial, I think it's something that will not even take me up to 3 hours before I'm done with it, or even 2 hours before I'm done with it. So it's important that you study the style before you price, because your time is your money. Leave all this. It's not just all these people that will say it's not just to cut and join. Let them go and cut it and join. Time is money. You can't spend 4 hours on the machine and you are undercharging. Please study the style. Study the style well before you charge. The last thing, but not the least, on this video today that I wished I learned earlier is what? You are the accountant, you are the consultant, you are the tailor, you are the choker, you are the cutter, you are everything at this stage of life, unless you have people working with you. For me, I don't have anybody that is working with me. So I am the consultant, I am the tailor, I cut, I sew, I price, I do everything. I'm the customer service, I do everything. So sometimes it's overwhelming. So that's what I wished I knew earlier, that is going to sometimes feel overwhelming. So if you find value in this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you get more of these things I've learned. In fact, I have so many videos coming up for you, and I hope you find value. Don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, share these videos with family and friends, and so that you will learn from me and not make mistakes or be overwhelmed. In fact, at least when those things are coming, you say, okay, you've learned it from somewhere else. You know how to manage your own, like when it comes to pricing, when it comes to being overwhelmed, when the house has to come. In fact, a lot of things, you know how to maneuver your way around it. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.